Good evening. My name is Bill Murphy, Public Information Officer on the Thomas Fire. Thank you again for joining us. This is our evening update for December 18th. The Thomas Fire is currently 271,000 acres. And I'm going to turn it over to Operations Section Chief Mark Brown, who has some good news to report on the progress of the fire as we've achieved 50% containment.
Good evening, and yes, we've had a very productive day again. It's nice to have a couple days in a row where we have good progress. If you're in the area, you may have seen some more smoke in the air today than you saw yesterday, and that was because of a firing operation that we were conducting up off of Highway 33 on the north end of the fire. The weather conditions were just right for us. The winds were blowing into the fire. We had multiple firing teams working in conjunction with each other, going slow and methodically down the line to make sure that all the fire was burning the way we wanted it to. And it was all burning into the interior and getting what we call the depth that we need for that firing operation. As long as the weather continues to cooperate for the next couple of days, we'll likely be continuing that firing operation for the next 3 or 4 days so we can complete the line. And this is in order so we can bring it to a place that we can control where the fire line is, rather than where the fire is placing our firefighters in a more unsafe place. As we move around through the rest of the fire in a clockwise fashion, and we get into the Sespe wilderness, the fire continues to challenge our lines, but not as aggressively as it has been. We've held it in check with direct attack hose lays and hand line. We've also been holding it in check with some retardant drops. And Fillmore, again, continues to be holding in line in place. We're very happy with the progress in there. We'll move around into Santa Barbara. And I think it's important to note that we get multiple infrared flights over our fire every day. We have one at night around 1 to 2 a.m., and then we have a helicopter that does infrared flights for us earlier in the morning that gets a little bit more detailed information than that evening one. And we've been very pleased with the lack of heat signatures in the Santa Barbara front country that this IR flight has been showing. So our firefighters have been successful in extinguishing all the hot spots in Santa Barbara. There are still some left to hit. This IR flight that I told you about gives us Latin longs and an accurate map. Our firefighters take these Latin longs and maps, and they go out and they find those hot spots and they put them out. As we move around in the front country towards the Gibraltar Road and Camino Cielo, we had some challenging line that we needed to construct. That line has been completed, and they're currently putting hose in on it right now so they can mop up that piece at the very top where Gibraltar ties into the Camino Cielo in an area called Flores Flats. And just below that, there were several slopovers and spot fires that our fire crews have been on. The slopovers have been contained and hose is on them, and the spot fires have been corralled by retardant. There is no smoke coming off of them, and our firefighters will be working their way into those hot spots or those spot fires to cut them out so that there is fire line around them and they are no threat. And if you're in the Santa Barbara area and evacuation area, please look towards your information, because we are making some changes to the evacuation areas along the Santa Barbara front country. Some of the areas will be completely lifted, and some of the mandatories will be lifted to warnings. But please look forward to further information from the County of Santa Barbara. Thank you.
Good evening. Rich Thompson, Incident Meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Weather-wise, next day or so across the fire, we're expecting increasing westerly winds across the fire. So we're going to expect tomorrow and through most of the day on Wednesday, just general west winds across the fire, west to southwest winds. Those westerly winds will bring a associated decrease in temperature, so things will be a little bit cooler across the fire, and increasing relative humidity across the fire. However, later in the afternoon on Wednesday into Wednesday evening, we're going to have a weak cold front move across the area. Now, this cold front's not going to bring any rain to the fire. However, what it's going to do is if cold front passes through the area late Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, it's going to really bring another round of gusty northerly winds to the fire area Wednesday night and Thursday morning. So currently, because of those gusty north winds, we have a fire weather watch in effect for the Santa Barbara County mountains and the south coast of Santa Barbara County from 6 p.m. Wednesday evening until 10 a.m. Thursday morning. So again, it's a fire weather watch for the Santa Barbara County mountains and the south coast for north winds and some lowering relative humidity. At this point in time, wind speeds with this fire weather watch for Wednesday night, Thursday morning with these north winds are generally expected to range anywhere from 30 to 50 miles per hour across Santa Barbara County. So that's something we're watching in the short term to see how that's going to impact things in the next few days.
My name is Tim Chavez. I'm the Fire Behavior Analyst for Incident Management Team 4. I have very little to talk about tonight. That's probably a good thing. The only areas of the fire that were active are the far west end in Santa Barbara. There is some creeping and smoldering in some areas where the fire had quit moving but hadn't gone out, and you heard Chief Brown say we're working real hard to get all that stuff put out. And then in the far north end of the fire is a place where we are creating the fire activity because we're trying to burn out our lines on the north end of the fire. That's all the fire activity there was today.
Good evening, everyone. Todd Durham, Incident Commander for CAL FIRE IMT4. I just want to take a minute once again to thank the community. The response from the community actually to the firefighters and law enforcement agency has been extremely gracious, and we really appreciate the offers for food and other support that's been brought into our incident bases in our camp. But we would like to ask that you join us and focus in our efforts towards the fire survivors, to your community, the people that are out there. Those of us here, we are relatively self-sufficient, and so all those kind offers that have been made, whether it's food or blankets, have been very, very appreciated, but we like to really focus towards the fire survivors and to get your communities back up on their feet and where you were before these fires. Thank you very much.
All right, any questions this evening?
Could you go over again the size of?
Sure. The fire currently is 271,000 acres, 50% contained.
Do you foresee it becoming larger than the Cedar Fire?
Sure. Chief Brown, do you want to?
Do we think it's going to get bigger than the Cedar Fire? With the planned containment lines for the fire and operation that we have going on, yeah.
There's several up and on ramps in the Santa Barbara area from the freeway that they closed. What was the reason? You want to talk more about it?
On and off ramps from 101?
Right.
What day are you referring to?
Today, this morning.
Today?
Any of the off ramps that would have been closed would be due to the remnants of the last evacuation areas, because we have to have the road closures. But those should be changing shortly.
Anything else? Again, thank you for watching. Anybody has any additional questions, we will be available to answer those after tonight. Thank you.